My parents kicked me out at 15 because my sister wanted her own room. Now, they're begging for forgiveness, and I'm not sure I can trust them. I'm Ethan, 16, black, and the last 7 months have been the wildest, most painful roller coaster of my life. My parents, dad's black, mom's white, kicked me out of our house last summer so my sister Sarah, 17, looks white, could have her own bedroom as her birthday wish. They packed my stuff, told me to figure it out, and threw a slur at me as I walked out the door. Now they're crying, apologizing, and begging me and Sarah to forgive them. I'm torn between hope and doubt, and I need to get this off my chest. This is long, heavy, and messy, so grab a drink and settle in. Growing up, me and Sarah were like 2 peas in a pod, even though our parents treated us like we were from different planets. Dad's got this messed up colorism thing. He's black but acts like dark-skinned people like me are less than. Mom's just straight up racist, except when it comes to dad. It's like he's the one black guy she tolerates. Sarah got the princess treatment. Week-long birthday parties with cakes, bounce houses, and gifts stacked to the ceiling. Her 10th birthday had a freaking magician and a petting zoo. My birthdays? Just another day. I'd get a happy birthday if I was lucky, maybe a dollar store card with no money in it. Once, I got a pack of socks. Meanwhile, Sarah's room was a shrine to her. Posters, fairy lights, a queen bed, while I shared a cramped corner with a twin mattress and a wobbly desk. But Sarah never rubbed it in. She was my hero. On my 9th birthday, she knew mom and dad wouldn't do anything, so she pulled a fast one. She asked them to throw her party on my day, saying it was more convenient. They ate it up, of course. When the day came, Sarah let me pick the guests, choose the cake flavor, chocolate, my favorite, and even distracted our parents in the kitchen so everyone could sing happy birthday to me. I stood there, grinning like an idiot, feeling like I actually mattered for once. Another time we got our report cards and I had B's while Sarah had C's. I knew I'd get screamed at, or worse, for not getting A's. Mom and dad were already glaring at my report card when Sarah piped up. Please don't hurt Ethan. I hate violence. She sounded so sincere they bought it. Instead of the belt, they just pinched me a few times. Hard enough to bruise, but not bad enough to leave me limping. Sarah always had my back like that, making me feel like I wasn't alone in that house.
Until her 17th birthday, I woke up to chaos. Mom, dad, and our aunts packing my stuff into cardboard boxes. My clothes, my PS4, my sketchbooks, everything. I stumbled downstairs, still in my pajamas, heart pounding. What's going on? I asked. Dad wouldn't look at me. Sorry, kid, he said, taping a box shut. Sarah's birthday wish is her own room. I froze. What? Our house only has 3 bedrooms. Mom and dad, Sarah's, and the one I shared with her. There's no spare room. I turned to mom, who was folding my hoodies like she was doing me a favor. Where am I supposed to go? I asked, voice shaking. She smirked, not even looking up. You've got a phone, call your friends, figure it out. The word hit me like a punch. I'd heard it before, but never from her. Never like that. I looked at Sarah, standing in the corner, her face blank. Her shoulders were tense like she was holding her breath. Sarah, I begged. This is a prank, right? Tell me you didn't ask for this. She wouldn't meet my eyes, just stood there silent. I kept begging, thinking it had to be a joke. But after 30 minutes of them packing my life away, my comics, my basketball, even my toothbrush, I realized it was real. Sarah, my best friend, my only ally, had betrayed me. I collapsed on the living room floor, curling into a ball, sobbing so hard I could barely breathe. This deep, aching loneliness washed over me, like I'd lost everything. They didn't care. Mom stepped over me to grab another box. Dad muttered, "Stop being dramatic." Sarah just stood there, frozen. Finally, my fight or flight kicked in. I numbed out, grabbed my phone, and called Aunt Clara, Dad's sister. I wasn't sure she'd help. Sarah's betrayal had me doubting everyone, but she answered on the first ring. "Ethan, come to my place," she said, her voice warm but firm. "Stay as long as you need." I didn't eat breakfast, didn't say goodbye to Sarah, didn't even grab the gift I'd gotten her, a sketch I drew of us. Just loaded my boxes into an Uber and left. In the car, my phone buzzed. Sarah's name popped up on the screen. I was so angry I wanted to chuck the phone out the window, but I answered anyway.
"I'm so sorry,"
she whispered.
"Please don't hate me, Ethan."
I didn't say a word. Too hurt, too confused. Then she asked,
"Are you alone?"
I muttered, "Yeah." She switched to FaceTime and held up a pregnancy test. 2 pink lines stared back at me.
"I'm pregnant,"
she said.
"I didn't want to tell mom and dad yet. You know how they are. I didn't want you in the house when they find out."
I flashed back to when Sarah came home with a hickey once. They screamed at me for an hour, saying I was a bad influence and corrupting her. I got why she did it. She was protecting me, but it still felt like a knife in my back. "What do you need?" I asked, my voice flat. She told me to talk to Aunt Clara about helping her. Then I heard mom and dad, "Happy birthday," up the stairs, and she hung up. When I got to Aunt Clara's apartment, she opened the door with this huge smile and hugged me so tight I almost couldn't breathe. "I'm so glad you're here, Ethan," she said. We dragged my boxes inside, and over some awkward small talk about school and basketball, I couldn't hold it in. I blurted out, "My parents are racist and Sarah's pregnant." She, at first, thinking it was a joke. But when I started bawling, she realized I was serious.
We sat on her couch and I unloaded everything. The favoritism, the slurs, the pinches and slaps, getting kicked out. Her face got darker with every word, but she didn't interrupt. "You're safe here," she promised, holding me as I cried myself to sleep. I didn't know it then, but Aunt Clara was about to make my parents regret everything. The next morning, I woke on her couch, confused for a second before it all came crashing back. My eyes were swollen. My back ached from the couch's weird angle. I checked my phone. 4 missed calls from Sarah, nothing from Mom or Dad. Not surprising, but it still stung like I was invisible to them. Aunt Clara was in the kitchen cooking bacon and eggs. The smell hit me hard. I hadn't eaten since lunch the day before. "Morning, sleepyhead," she said, sliding a plate in front of me. "Eat. We've got a lot to talk about." I inhaled the food. Best eggs I'd ever had, or maybe I was just starving. She sipped coffee, watching me, then got serious. "Has your dad ever hit you?" I nearly choked on my orange juice. No one had ever asked me that straight up. "Not like punches," I mumbled, staring at my plate. "Just slaps, pinches, sometimes a belt if I really messed up." Her face darkened. "That's abuse, Ethan. The way they treat you differently from Sarah, that's abuse too." Hearing it out loud hit me like a truck. I'd always known something was wrong, but abuse? It made me feel seen and ashamed at the same time, like I should have fought back or something. After breakfast, Aunt Clara called Dad. I could hear her from the living room, her voice sharp and pissed. "Marcus, Ethan's staying with me, and I know how you've been treating it." Dad tried to play it off, saying they didn't kick me out, just suggested I stay with friends for a while. I snorted when she told me. "But friends, they packed my whole life in boxes." Aunt Clara wasn't buying it. She told him I was staying with her indefinitely and set up a family meeting for later. But first she wanted to help Sarah. Sarah came over that afternoon, looking like she hadn't slept in days. Her eyes were red, her hair a mess. She hugged me tight, whispering, "I'm so sorry, Ethan." I was still mad, but hugged her back. Aunt Clara sat us down, and Sarah spilled everything. She was 8 weeks pregnant with her boyfriend Jake's kid. Jake was a tall, quiet guy from her chemistry class, played baseball, kept to himself. She was terrified of Mom and Dad finding out, didn't know if she wanted to keep the baby, and felt like her life was falling apart. Aunt Clara listened, asking gentle questions. "Have you thought about your options?" she asked. Sarah shook her head, tears streaming. "I'm only 17. I'm supposed to go to college next year, but I don't know if I can, not keep it, but I'm scared to be a mom." Aunt Clara nodded. "You've got time to decide. First, you need a doctor to make sure you're okay. I'll take you." Sarah looked so relieved I thought she'd collapse. I was still hurt, but seeing her like that softened me. She wasn't trying to screw me over. She was just scared. The next week was weird, but nice. Aunt Clara's apartment was small, but she gave me her spare room. Queen bed, a desk, actual privacy. Way better than sharing with Sarah. We went shopping for posters to make it mine. Picked out a Spider-Man one and a Kobe Bryant print. Sarah came over a few times after school, sneaking out under the guise of debate team practice. Aunt Clara took her to a doctor who confirmed she was 9 weeks pregnant. Sarah was still on the fence about what to do, but at least she was getting prenatal care. Mom and Dad didn't call me once. Sarah said they barely mentioned me at home, like I'd vanished. It hurt, but it confirmed what I'd always suspected. Resigned. They didn't love me like parents are supposed to. Then it all blew up. Sarah called me one Friday night, sobbing so hard I could barely understand her.
"Mom found my prenatal vitamins,"
she said.
"She saw me gaining weight and put it together. She knows I'm pregnant."
My heart sank. What'd she say? Sarah's voice shook.
"She went ballistic, screaming I ruined my life, shamed the family. Dad came home and lost it too. They're pounding on my door, saying I have to face the consequences."
I put her on speaker so Aunt Clara could hear.
"Are you safe?"
"I'm in my room, door locked,"
Sarah said.
"but I'm scared."
Aunt Clara grabbed her keys.
"We're coming. Pack a bag with essentials."
We sped to the house, my stomach in knots. I hadn't been back since they kicked me out. The porch light was on, both parents' cars in the driveway. Aunt Clara told me to stay in the car, but I wasn't having it. "Sarah's my sister," I said. "I'm coming." She nodded, and we marched to the front door. Aunt Clara rang the bell, and the shouting inside stopped. Dad yanked the door open, his face shifting from anger to fake calm when he saw Aunt Clara. "Bonnie, what a surprise," he said, ignoring me. Mom appeared behind him, face blotchy from yelling or crying. "This is a family matter," she snapped. Aunt Clara didn't flinch. "I'm family. So's Ethan. Where's Sarah?" Dad waved it off. "In her room, having a tantrum. She'll come out when she's ready to talk rationally." The way he said rationally made my skin crawl. I knew what he meant. Agree to an abortion or else. I pushed past them, running upstairs to Sarah's room, my old room. "Sarah, it's me," I knocked. She cracked the door, tears everywhere, and hugged me tight. "They're saying I have to get an abortion or they'll kick me out," she whispered.
I helped her pack clothes, laptop, her favorite hoodie, a stuffed bear she'd given me years ago that somehow survived the purge of my stuff. We went downstairs, Sarah's bag slung over my shoulder. Mom tried to block us. "You don't live here anymore, Ethan," she said. Aunt Clara stepped in, her voice like steel. "Move." Mom stepped aside. Dad tried again. "You can't take her, she's a minor." Aunt Clara didn't blink. "Unless you want CPS hearing about how you've treated both your kids, step aside." Dad's face went red, but they didn't stop us. Sarah spoke up, voice shaky but firm.
I'm going with Ethan and Aunt Clara. I'll come back when you support my choice.
We walked out, Mom crying, Dad staring like he'd lost control. In the car, Sarah leaned against me, shaking. I felt this fierce protectiveness, like I'd fight the world for her. At Aunt Clara's, Sarah took my bed, and I crashed on the couch. Her phone blew up with calls from Mom and Dad. Threats, then fake tears begging her to come home. She turned it off after 2 days. They never called me, not once. It was like I didn't exist unless they needed to yell at me. 3 days later, I was alone in the apartment while Aunt Clara was at work and Sarah was at a follow-up doctor's appointment. The doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole, Mom and Dad. My heart raced. I called Aunt Clara. "They're here. Don't open the door," she said. "I'm leaving work. Be there in 20. They started pounding. Dad yelling, "Ethan, we know you're in there!" Then I heard a key. The door swung open. Dad held up a spare key, calm falsely. "Clara gave us this for emergencies," he said, stepping inside. Mom followed, looking around. "Where's Sarah?" I backed up, firmly. "She's not here. You need to leave." They didn't. Dad said Sarah was a minor and Aunt Clara was kidnapping her. I snapping. "She left because you're forcing her to get an abortion." Mom's eyes slid away. Defensive. "We're just helping her make the right choice." I was livid, angry. "Her choice, not yours." Aunt Clara burst in with Sarah, who'd just gotten back. Sarah froze, seeing our parents. Aunt Clara pointed at the door, commanding, "Out, now." Dad squared up, defiant. "Not without Sarah." Sarah stepped beside me, determined. "I'm not going. Not until you respect my decision about my baby." Mom started crying. Fake tears, I could tell. Fake crying. "We just want what's best for you." Sarah wasn't having it. "You want what's best for your image, not me." Aunt Clara shut it down, saying we'd have a family meeting. She made them sit on the couch, and for 2 hours, we laid it all bare. Sarah explained how terrified she was when she found out she was pregnant, how she knew they'd react badly. I unloaded years of pain, how they celebrated Sarah's birthdays but ignored mine, how their racism made me feel like garbage, the slaps, the slurs, the constant feeling I was less than. Aunt Clara called them out for abusing us, emotionally and physically. She didn't sugarcoat it, accusing. "You saw what you were doing," she said. "You just didn't care." Mom broke down. Real tears this time, sobbing. "I'm racist," she admitted, looking at me. "I treated you worse because you're darker and it's unforgivable." Dad looked like he'd aged a decade. "I didn't realize how bad it was," he mumbled. Aunt Clara wasn't gentle, sternly. "You realized. You just didn't care. The question is, do you care now?" I didn't forgive them, but I said, thoughtful, "It's a start." Sarah decided to keep the baby. Jake stepped up, promising to help. His parents were strict, but didn't let him bail. We moved back home on a trial basis with Aunt Clara as our safety net. Family therapy was weird, but helped. Our therapist, Dr. Lee, didn't let anyone off the hook. When Dad tried to downplay the slaps, she called it abuse. When Mom cried about how hard it was for her, Dr. Lee firmly pointed out how much harder it was for me. In one session, Mom hesitantly admitted her racism again, and Dad somberly owned up to his colorism. It was the first time I believed they might change. They redid my room. New paint, new desk, a legit bed. They started asking about my school, my friends, even my basketball games. It was surreal, like living with strangers trying to be parents. Sarah's pregnancy moved fast. At the first ultrasound, we all went. Me, Mom, Dad, Jake, Aunt Clara. Seeing that tiny blob on the screen hit hard. Mom cried, Dad actually smiled, and Sarah held Jake's hand. My parents turned their office into a nursery, painting it blue because Sarah wanted something neutral. They fussed over her, making sure she ate right and rested. It was weird seeing them care. Sarah's water broke during my high school graduation. I was in my cap and gown, walking across the stage when Dad started waving like a maniac. We rushed to the hospital, and after 15 hours of Sarah screaming and threatening to yeet Jake into the sun, Clara Lily Williams was born.
6 pounds, 7 ounces, with Sarah's eyes and Jake's chin. Holding my niece was unreal. I whispered, "Hey Clara, I'm your Uncle Ethan. You're gonna be so loved." Sarah named her after Aunt Clara and me, which hit me right in the feels. Mom and Dad cried when they held her. So did Aunt Clara. So did I, choked up, if I'm honest. Things aren't perfect. Mom and Dad still mess up, saying frustrated, dumb stuff they don't realize is racist. Therapy's a weekly thing, and I'm still cautious. Sarah and Jake are figuring out co-parenting while finishing school. I'm applying to colleges. And for the first time, my parents are excited for me. They threw me a small party when I got into my top choice, first time they've ever celebrated me. Aunt Clara's still our rock. We spend weekends at her place watching movies, eating pizza, just chilling. One night, Sarah grabbed her stomach mid-movie. "The baby's kicking!" Excited, she put my hand on her belly, and I felt a tiny thump. It was the amazed, coolest thing ever. "Hey, Clara," I said. "Can't wait to meet you." Looking at Clara now, I know we'll be okay. She'll never feel unwanted like I did. But I'm torn. Part of me wants to believe my parents have changed, but another part's waiting for them to slip back. Should I give them a real shot, or keep my walls up forever? So that's my story, guys. It's been a wild 7 months, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it all. Holding my niece Clara makes me feel like maybe there's hope for me and Sarah, like we can build something better for her. But my parents? I don't know. One part of me wants to believe they're changing, those therapy sessions, the new room, the way they're trying to show up for us. But another part screaming, "Don't fall for it, Ethan, they've hurt you before." I'm stuck, and I could really use your take. What would you do if you were me? Should I give them a real chance to be better parents, or keep my guard up in case they go back to their old ways? And what about Sarah? Should we stay with them or move out for good? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm reading every single one. If this story hit you as hard as it hit me, smash that like button to let me know. It really helps get this out to more people. And if you want to see how this all plays out, will my parents step up or will they mess it up again? Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss the update. I'm planning to post again when things settle, maybe in a few months, so stick around. Oh, and check out the poll in the description. Should I forgive my parents? Yes, no, or maybe? Vote and let's see what you all think. Thanks for listening to my mess of a life. You guys are awesome. Peace.